Coliseum and took the ACC Championship trophy home. Now they're flying high and back for a third straight top 10 matchup with the Wolfpack. NC State has been dominant behind its key seniors and will look for a perfect dual record in front of a thunderous crowd at home. It's a battle of the beasts of the East, the Hokies and the Wolfpack. The ACC dual championship is on the line, and it starts right now.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us here on the ACC Network Extra at Reynolds Coliseum on the campus of North Carolina State University in Raleigh, North Carolina. Virginia Tech at the Wolfpack of North Carolina State. Darren Vaughn alongside me, former ACC wrestler, former Wolfpack wrestler, Ryan Tice. Ryan, you know this matchup very well. The Hokies and the Wolfpack, they've duked it out for the past 3 seasons now for the ACC dual crown.
Yeah, each of the last 3 years, they have both come in undefeated in the ACC, and this one has been for all the marbles in terms of the dual championship. I think we're going to have another close one this year. The last 2 years, it's come down to the final belt. I think it will happen again this season.
A handful of ranked bouts in this one alone, and you see here over the past 3 seasons, overall records in dual competition behind just Penn State University. There they are, NC State and Virginia Tech ranked 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, you see that 4 next to the NC State on the right-hand side. 2 of those have come courtesy of the Hokies. They are going to be out for revenge tonight.
So we'll get things underway with the 125s for North Carolina State. Sean Faust, Kyle Nordstrom, redshirt freshman, competing for Virginia Tech. Ryan, you said they normally draw out of a hat to determine what weight class we begin with. We just so happen to be at the smallest weight class, and we're going to work our way up throughout tonight's competition.
Yeah, they did draw out of a hat. They just ended up with 125. So sometimes coaches will agree to start at a certain weight. They wanted to go out of the hat, and we're starting at 125 anyway. So we should have a good one here with Sean Faust. He's one of the best in the country, and you see him in on that single already.
Faust ranked currently at number 5 nationally. Able to flip Nordstrom down there for the 2 points. And gets an early advantage.
And Faust looking for the turn already. Not quite able to get the 2 swipes needed.
He's in the dominant position. Working his way up to 20 seconds now of ride time.
Yeah, and Faust isn't a guy that's wrestled a ton of matches. His record's only 11-1 at this point, but he has been a guy that's on a mission. When he's out there, he's been looking to put up a lot of points, and like I said, he's trying to get his first All-America honor. That requires a top 8 finish at the NCAA championships. Last year, he was 1 win shy of doing just that.
As we reset, Nordstrom out of Brandon, Florida. 11 wins, 11 losses on the season, so he's competed a lot more than Faust.
Yeah, if you see Faust when he stands up, I mean, he's a huge guy for 125 pounds. So NC State's very selective about when they weigh him in and when he does wrestle.
Flips Nordstrom over. Unable to earn points, but that riding time approaching a minute in total.
Yeah, and there it is. He just eclipsed a minute of riding time. Only we're less than 2 minutes into the match, and he's already got that.
60 seconds remain in period number 1. Faust has been in complete control.
Yeah, Faust just not quite able to get that turn for long enough to get the 2 count and get 2 back points or more. But he is certainly working on top.
You saw a bit of a hack with his right arm there, trying to gain even more of an advantageous position.
Virginia Tech coach is saying Faust was in danger, but the ref says he's got 4 back points.
And the count was there, so the official very aware of Faust's position.
And he did put himself in a little bit of a bad position there, going to his back like that, but he was in control the whole time there. And State in control.
Nearing the end of the first period, a 6-0 advantage for Sean Faust, the redshirt junior out of Alexandria, Kentucky. An impressive first showing through a few minutes. And you see Coach Pat Papalizio in his 6th season at the helm for North Carolina State. He would love to get over the hump in terms of this rivalry and earn an ACC dual championship tonight.
Yeah, it would be NC State's first 5-0 ACC dual season since 2000. It would be their first ACC dual championship since 2004, so this is a big one.
Virginia Tech, no laughing matter as an opponent. 10 straight top 10 finishes. And Nordstrom putting up a fight now in period number 2.
Tried to get in on a shot there, but these guys are in a bit of a 50-50 position, and stalemate's going to be the call.
Prior to that, Faust with an escape, which bumped the score up to 7-0 in the Wolfpack's favor. 1:25 remaining in the second period. Faust with an aggressive move toward the legs. And a 2-point takedown rewarded to Faust in the Wolfpack.
And he's going right away for that turn. It looked like he had one leg in, and he does have that leg in on the right side. And now he's got his opponent stretched out. This is a bad spot for Nordstrom.
Faust overpowering the redshirt freshman to a 9-0 lead. 50 seconds remain in the second period. He's over 2.5 minutes of ride time now.
Yeah, and you can see how deep he has that half Nelson. I mean, that was in there deep. Credit there to Nordstrom for not turning on that one.
This, Ryan, one of the matches within this competition, you would have to imagine North Carolina State is going to be very pleased if they can accrue as many points as possible in this one, whereas you've got number 5 wrestling a 500 competitor. We mentioned earlier 5 ranked bouts, so safe to say they're going to be much tighter than this one has been.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're Sean Faust in this position, you know you've got to get out there and put up some bonus points. And you see him actually, he kind of almost hesitated there and looked up at the clock because I think he thought he had the Tech fall.
I believe he did. Instead, he gets rewarded the near fall, so an additional 4 points added onto the score as we have a stoppage nearing the end of the second period. 4 seconds on the clock, 13-0 the advantage for Sean Faust.
Dominant effort here from the redshirt junior. And with the way NC State has wrestled or not wrestled Faust this year, this is exactly what you want to see from him. You want to see a guy that's well rested and peaking going into the postseason. This is obviously the final regular season weekend of the wrestling season. And then we go into the conference championships at the beginning of March.
So an impressive first bout for North Carolina State. Coach Tony Roby of Virginia Tech watches in his first full season at the helm. Of course, replacing a legend there in Blacksburg after being an assistant for a long time.
And Faust gets the takedown, and that will complete the technical fall. You don't normally see much emotion from Sean Faust, but a little fist pump there for the home crowd.
Faust finishes that 15-0, or 15-2-0 rather, as we make our way to the 133s. And here was the final takedown, Ryan. Faust was dominant throughout the entirety of that bout.
Yeah, he knew what he needed to do at the end there. He wanted to get out of there with some bonus points. That's exactly what he did. And we have got a good one coming up here at 133 pounds. A former ACC champion in Dennis Gustafson and a young upstart with Tariq Wilson of the Wolfpack.
20 wins each on the season. For Wilson, ranked number 13 in the country, he's 20-5. Gustafson, 18th in the country, respectively, 20 wins, 7 losses. Both competitors immediately go low.
Quick takedown there for Wilson. Wasting no time after going upper body.
Using his length in this matchup. On the outskirts of the circle. Perhaps what could have been ruled a takedown a little more toward the center of the mat, and they'll reset things.
Yeah, and you saw it when those two guys were standing right next to each other. NC State at these lower weight classes has some really long guys, especially compared to these Virginia Tech guys who are a little shorter, stockier, but nice reversal there from Gustafson.
Gustafson, quick on the counter, now has gained himself a bit of an advantage positionally.
And Gustafson's going to have to try to return him to the mat, or right there he just let him go. He was getting very close to a possible stalling call.
The escape makes it 3-2 in Tariq Wilson's favor. Then a self-mandated reset, if you will, for both Wilson and Gustafson.
Yeah, and you see the rankings on the screen, 18 and 13. I think this match is a lot closer than that. I mean, these guys are right neck and neck with each other. Gustafson in on a shot, not quite able to finish yet.
Gustafson very aggressive thus far, but Wilson doing a great job.
And Wilson's almost in the better position after that roll through. He still has to get his leg free as you see Gustafson trying to come out the back door. And there's the two.
Both of these competitors are so crafty in their shooting. Now a 4-3 advantage for Gustafson. Just over 1 minute remaining in the first period between the 133s.
Yeah, and that was a great scramble there from two guys who kind of wrestle a little bit differently, have differing frames, but some great scrambles.
Wilson, meanwhile, avoids a couple of takedowns and gets one of his own. What a reversal by Tariq Wilson.
And he was even trying to slide the bar in there, not quite able to get it all the way in, but he almost had Gustafson in a really bad spot.
30 seconds left in period number one. A tightly contested bout thus far. Gustafson manages to his feet. And the escape knots us up at 5. 10 seconds left in the first.
I think if you look at this match on paper, Darren, this is one of the toss-up matches. I think each team probably had 3 bouts they were pretty heavily favored in. I would say 3 each. And then there were 4 toss-ups. We talked to head coach Tony Roby of Virginia Tech beforehand, and he said it's going to be crucial for his team to come out on the winning end of those 4 toss-up matches.
At the tail end of the Tariq Wilson reversal. Prior to that shot even, Ryan, there were a couple of chances for a Gustafson takedown. And Wilson using his lengthy arms to avoid both times and end with the counter attack.
I tell you, as a guy who was a short wrestler, there's nothing worse than seeing a guy with the height and length of Tariq Wilson. It just makes it so difficult to score on. And like you mentioned, they can use those long limbs to kind of be really, really difficult to get under control.
Gustafson on top of the positioning here in the second period, as 30 seconds have already gone away.
And Gustafson had that leg in deep on the left side. Tariq Wilson working on getting it out of there, but Gustafson working on a turn of his own. Got the 2 count, and now Tariq Wilson's almost in position to go for a reversal, but he did give up the 2 back points.
Wilson going to try for one, unable to do so. Gustafson back on top, 7-5 in favor of the Hokie.
I tell you, Wilson gets in some positions where he's almost there, and then Gustafson just kind of uses that veteran savvy to stay in control.
Wilson with a bit of a stiff arm there, again avoiding a takedown. And with 40 seconds or so remaining in the second period, Gustafson in complete control the second time out.
Yeah, and Gustafson's got that leg in on the right side. That makes it so hard to escape for the bottom guy. Tariq Wilson's got to start moving here. He's not moving enough. He's broken down flat on his stomach. And there he is getting hit for stalling, his first stall call of the match. But next time he gets hit, that's a point for his opponent.
Gustafson already up 2. 14 seconds remain in the second period. Wilson, it seems, has exerted a lot of energy escaping what would have been takedowns by Gustafson early on.
And Wilson kind of got saved by the bell there. He looked like he was about to get turned and give up a count. So he's lucky the bell rang when it did. Gustafson's got almost 2 minutes of riding time already. 1:55 going into the third.
Just a 2-point advantage for Gustafson, but that second period was all in favor of the guy in orange and maroon. 2 more minutes between these two as Wilson begins the referee's position on top.
And this is going to erase some of that riding time Gustafson has built up already, but Wilson's going to have to get a takedown here eventually. I don't see him turning him. I mean, just with what we've seen from Wilson this year, I have a hard time believing he's going to get a turn. So we'll see when he goes for the cut here.
Tried for a turn there, but got too far out. And with 1:31 left in this bout, we'll reset. 5-0 team advantage for North Carolina State following the technical fall in favor of Sean Faust.
That's going to be a caution against Gustafson. Just his first of the match. You can get 2 of those before you give up a point, but his first. Something to watch for.
So each Wilson and Gustafson with similar marks against them in that regard. 1:20 left here in the third period.
So Wilson's riding him, and the ride time's at 1:07 and coming down right now. So it's going to be huge for him to get it under a minute, but I do think we'll see him, unless he gets a turn, I think we'll see him go for a cut here pretty soon.
Riding time under a minute. We're now under a minute left in the third. Wilson is going to have to push.
I wouldn't be shocked to see the state coaches tell Tariq to do an optional start here, but I'm not seeing it. There it is. He's going to let him up there.
8-5, Gustafson leads. Wilson going for the low shoot.
And then he goes upper body. There's the takedown. He's going to have to cut him quick and go for another takedown. And Gustafson in on a shot immediately. There's the veteran savvy. A redshirt senior versus a redshirt freshman.
The escape for Gustafson is what earlier gave him what is now an 8-7 advantage. And Wilson now with a takedown.
And he's getting, the ref started the danger call, has not given the takedown yet. NC State's going to challenge this, but they will wait till there's a stoppage to review it.
With just 10 seconds remaining in the period, they'll stop the clock and honor the review, it seems.
That was due for that, ref.
And Ryan, you're correct. It was a hesitant and incomplete takedown call by the closest official. Coach Papalizio is going to urge them to take a look.
I think he was starting what's the danger call. That's a recent thing in college wrestling. I didn't see him ever put up the 2 for the takedown, but it's going to be interesting to see what they call here as they go to the monitor for a review.
This one of 5 ranked bouts on the day, so certainly a crucial decision on the way. And you see Wilson in favorable position there. But Gustafson able to turn that right shoulder to get out of trouble, I believe just in the nick of time.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to if they give him control or they give him enough of that danger call. We'll see. You hear the crowd. They're seeing it on the big screen here. They think it's 2. Let's see what the referee has come to his conclusion.
Primarily a North Carolina State contingent here at Reynolds Coliseum, as should be the case in Raleigh. And they do not like the decision to let the call stand.
A little confusion there between the coaches and the referees.
Coach Pop looking for further explanation as to exactly what the ruling included. And we'll resume the third period. 8-7 advantage for Gustafson. 9 seconds left.
And it's actually going to be 9-7 when he gets the escape point.
That's correct. Wilson with the takedown.
And the ref says they were out of bounds.
Yeah, I saw no ruling for a 2 points in favor of NC State. 1 second, they'll let it run out in the third period. And a disappointing fall for Tariq Wilson and North Carolina State when it comes to the match at large.
A 9-7 win there for Gustafson. Here's the very end last sequence. You see Wilson took him down to his back, but they were out of bounds, and Gustafson was able to kind of roll out of it before Wilson could get control.
So a very, very contentious bout. Leaves North Carolina State competitor Tariq Wilson at a disadvantage. We saw Coach Papalizio there, not thrilled with the decision nor the ruling, but it takes us to the 141s, where for all intents and purposes we'll have a North Carolina State legend in Kevin Jack, the senior out of Danbury, Connecticut, 16-1 on the season, just recently surpassed 100 career wins, and is creeping ever so closely to the all-time Wolfpack mark.
Yeah, he might not have enough matches to get to the all-time school record because he has wrestled so few this year. Only 17 matches this year. He's 14 away from the school record. And if all things go according to plan, he will only have another match on Sunday, 2 matches at ACCs, and 5 matches at the NCAA championships.
Quite the illustrious career for Jack, as the seniors were honored earlier this evening. And he gets a quick 2-point takedown early in this one against Brent Moore, another redshirt freshman competing for the Hokies. Unranked, 17 wins, 9 losses on the season.
This is a good situation for NC State, coming off the first loss of the duel, to go right in your senior, one of your leaders on the team, and of course one of the best guys in the country. As you see, he's ranked 2nd nationally.
And we saw against North Carolina here in Reynolds Coliseum last week a very conservative Kevin Jack. Seems to be competing much more aggressively early on in this one.
Yeah, Coach Papalizio after that match said he knew Kevin Jack was not pleased with the result. He wants to put up more points than he did last week. It was still a pretty dominant effort, but just not enough points for what him and the coaching staff wants. And he knew it. It
was very defensive, as this time he's the aggressor and has been in control for the first minute and change of the first period.
See, he's trying to work for that turn. He had a deep half there. Moore able to fight out of that.
Good defensive squirming, if you will, by Moore. And Jack will go back to the drawing board.
I tell you, Jack is so tough on top. You see how deep he's got that bar on the left side. And there's a first stalling call against Moore. We'll see if that plays a role down the line. But Jack's still working on that bar on the left side. He's continuing to go for a half on the right, and those long arms, he's got it in there deep.
Such a great technical wrestler, Kevin Jack. Very methodical in his approach here as he secures that left arm. Just lost it, but regains control. Moving his way to the outside of the circle. Moore fighting to regain position.
I do believe he got the 4 count there, so he'll get all 4 back points.
That is the ruling, just in, 6-0. Jack's advantage now with 14 seconds left in the first period.
And that's big for him to get that right at the end of the period. I mean, he was starting to look a little frustrated, you know, only up 2-0, a dominant 2-0, but only 2-0. And then he gets that 4 to kind of break it open at the end of the first period.
He had worked toward those 4 points essentially the entire period, finally able to manage them just before the buzzer sounds.
Yeah, and you see the end of that turn right there before we get going here in this frame.
6-0, Kevin Jack on top after 1 period. It's a 5-3 team advantage for North Carolina State through 2 bouts.
Jack going for a switch. Now he's up to his feet.
And Jack regains control. Earns 2 more with the reversal.
Nice job of continuing the move there by Jack. He was on the edge of the mat but never stopped. That's what you've got to do. When your opponent might relax for just a split second on the edge, Jack was looking for that reversal.
North Carolina State's 2 competitors who are ranked and facing unranked opponents doing a good job so far of taking care of business when and where they should.
And Moore did get hit with a second stalling call there, so that was another additional point for Kevin Jack. And he's right back to that
for Jack.
He's right back to that bar on the left side.
Under a minute left in the second period. And as has been the case for much of his career, it's been all Kevin Jack this evening.
Yeah, he's a 2-time All-American, and he's looking like it out there. He's a guy that's never lost an ACC duel in his career, and he's looking to end his career that way in his final ACC duel.
Wonder for a guy like him who's seen so much individual success. Ryan, if the past 2 seasons, the losses to Virginia Tech haven't eaten away at him and perhaps fueling his performance here.
Yeah, him and the whole senior class. I know they set goals at the beginning of the year, and one of them was to have a perfect ACC season and beat Virginia Tech. I mean, that was on the goal sheet.
They are 1 step away. It's a large step indeed. But well on their way to at least giving it a good go this evening. Moore with an impressive move there, nearly escapes.
Yeah, it looked like for a second that Granby roll might work, but Jack follows like the pro that he is, and he's right back to work on top.
Fans here at Reynolds Coliseum calling for a stall to be called against Moore.
And you see there going into the third period, Moore gets choice. He's not going underneath Kevin Jack again. He knows how brutal that can be. He picks neutral.
He trails 9-0 to the Wolfpack senior as we begin the third period. Jack shoots low, nearly got Moore. And Jack again with another 2 points on the takedown.
Oh, let's give him a free timeout because he hasn't been stalling enough.
And Moore with a whistle blown. Looked like he lost perhaps a contact lens.
Yeah, we've seen that happen with Kevin Jack a few times. He normally just continues to wrestle without it. And I thought Moore was going to try to put it back in, but he just said, forget it. Let's get back to work.
He's able to get a couple of seconds of a breather. Perhaps a sly, intentional move not to lose the contact, but to eke some time out of that. And Jack pushes Jack away to allow the escape. Jack shoots low ahead 12-0, 1.5 minutes left.
Right in on the takedown, and we're going to see Jack looks like he's going to go for another turn here to complete the tech fall.
He took absolute control. You see Moore's lower body and that right leg in particular. Jack was able to dominate that portion of Moore's body without occupying his arms. It was very impressive with the takedown to make it 14-0. 60 seconds left in the period.
And I was just going to say, Jack probably doesn't want the stalling call. He probably wants a turn, but on bottom, Moore just wasn't doing enough. The stalling call ends it.
And an absolutely dominant technical fall for Kevin Jack, 15-0. We'll give another 5 points to North Carolina State. So far, so good for the Wolfpack as they've won 2 of the 3 bouts.
And you see Kevin Jack just in right away on that reshot. Going for the turn here. I think that was the one at the end where he wasn't able to get it, but he did get the stalling call.
He grew ever so frustrated, threw his hand up at the official as if to say, I mean, that's stalling. So now as we make our way to another ranked bout at the 149 weight class, Bo Donahue, a redshirt senior for the Pack, and Ryan Blees, number 16th in the country, a redshirt junior. Very close in the rankings, these two. Donahue sits at number 13.
Yeah, and this is going to be a close one. Blees has wrestled really well as of late, but he's got a lot of close wins. I believe 3 sudden victory wins in the last 7 matches. And Bo Donahue lives for these last second matches. He's got several 1-point or sudden victory wins of his own this season. So I feel like I'm not going out on a limb when I say we might be heading for extra time at the end of this one.
13-0 though.
Blees, one of 6 competitors for the Hokies with at least 20 wins this season.
Yeah, the depth both of these 2 squads have is really, really impressive. You can go up and down the lineup, and there's a tough guy in just about every weight class on either side. And that's one of the reasons Pat Popolizio designed this final weekend the way he did. He wants, it's almost an NCAA tournament simulation. He said that's a 3-day grind at the NCAA championships. This is going to be a 3-day grind, having Virginia Tech Friday, Ohio State Sunday.
The Buckeyes visit Raleigh tomorrow, the number 2 team in the country. So it'll be a quick turnaround for the Wolfpack following tonight's match with Virginia Tech.
And that match will be on Sunday at 4:30. But it should be a good one.
Donahue, the aggressor here at the outside of the circle, unable to make hay.
Donahue really aggressive here. I mean, it's almost to the point where I wouldn't be surprised to see a stalling call if he can keep that pace going for the final 35 seconds.
Donahue and Blees lock arms and break away again.
Blees able to slow him down a little bit at the end of the period and kind of make it a little bit more even, but
10 seconds left in the first period. Not much doing for either Donahue or Blees so far. The clock hits 0. The score is at 0. As we make our way to period number 2. 2 minutes on the clock. And they'll reset position.
So no surprise here, a toss-up match, and it's even after one.
Blees able to get Donahue off his feet.
You're out.
No points awarded.
Not yet, but Donahue's right back up to his feet, and he's out.
First point of the bout. Donahue a 1-0 advantage following the escape.
That was a great mat return from Blees, but an even better job of Donahue of getting right back to his feet and working for that escape immediately.
1:20 left in the second period. Very carefully choosing their battles, both Donahue and Blees. Donahue shoots low. Has that right leg of Blees. Can't manage to bring him down. Finally does so just on the outside of the circle for the 2-point takedown.
That was a great shot by Bo Donahue. I think he almost surprised himself with how deep he was right as soon as he dropped down. Great shot, strong finish there by Bo Donahue.
The first really aggressive shot for either of these two thus far. As Blees on the board with the escape makes it 3-1 in favor of Sean Donahue, or Bo Donahue, excuse me. .40 seconds until the end of the second.
Nice defense there by Donahue, just taking the leg away on Blees' attempted shot.
Locked up at center mat again. Neither able to gain control. And Donahue tossed to the outside of the circle. And they'll try again. Again, great defense by Donahue.
He's got to bring him back in if he's going to want to finish this one.
North Carolina State bench wants a stalling call, or at least they did before Blees reversed position.
Yeah, and if Donahue was able to shoot him off like he was about to there, I think he might have gotten it, but good job by Blees working his way back in. And I think you can tell this is a big one for Donahue. He's a Virginia native, getting to wrestle a school from his home state. I think he's amped up for this one, and of course, his senior night as well.
He and the others were honored earlier. Donahue out of Centerville, Virginia. Another escape for Blees makes it 3-2.
That was a nice deep shot from Blees. Still hasn't finished yet, though.
Donahue manages it well. Or at least he has so far. 1:30 remaining. Ahead by one.
If Donahue somehow staves this takedown off, that would be really impressive. But Blees able to.
And the two awarded to Blees. Afterward, Donahue thrown over toward the scorer's table on the far side of the mat. Seemingly unfazed. Not sure if he really made hard contact, but you could hear the contact.
That wasn't two for Tariq.
So a 4-3 advantage now for Blees, who pushes Donahue on the outskirts of the mat. And the bout will be reset.
With as many close matches as both of these guys have won this year, I think they both live for that final moment. I know both coaches praise these guys as gas tanks quite a bit, so I think we're in for a heck of a finish here.
Both competitors very judicious with their energy as Donahue ties it up with the escape 4-all and 60 seconds left. Very careful in their approaches earlier on in the first period, now progressively making their way to more aggressive moves as Blees goes for the leg there. Donahue does not allow it.
Really impressive job. I mean, that was a great shot by Blees. Donahue just able to put his foot back down on the mat and get out of trouble.
Approaching half a minute left in the bout, but tied at 4 points apiece.
Both these wrestlers just look calm. I mean, it's tied up under 30 seconds to go, and they're both right in their comfort zones, I think.
Donahue again able to dodge the low shoot. And 10 seconds left. They may ride it out for an extra period. And they will. So through 3 periods, 4 points for both Bo Donahue and Ryan Blees. Number 13 and number 16 in the country at this weight class at 149. And Ryan, you called it or anticipated it even, that this was a possibility.
Just look at these guys' resumes. You knew it was going to come down to the end. You see a minute on the clock there, but obviously first points win the match. Sudden victory.
Blees, hard move to his left. Donahue able to mat him for the 2 points and the win.
That's just what Bo Donahue does. End of regulation, overtime is his time. Another close victory for the redshirt senior.
Donahue does his part in his final campaign for an ACC dual championship. You see again on the counter, avoiding Blees being able to grapple his lower body and flips him over for the takedown of his own. He's pumped.
Yeah, sudden victory. There's no better way to celebrate your senior night than getting a close win like that. I mean, on the ranking sheet, it's a close win, and he's propelling himself to the postseason with that one.
So now we make our way to Hayden Hidley of North Carolina State. You see there one of 2 undefeated freshmen in all of Division I. One of just 15 undefeated wrestlers in the entire country. 3 of those competing on the mat tonight. And Hidley taking on Solomon Chishko, the redshirt junior.
Yeah, and this is a really interesting match because you look on the score sheet and Shishko does not have a number next to his name, but this guy is a 2-time All-American. He's been on the big stage. He's won huge matches, and Hidley, just a redshirt freshman trying to make a name for himself out there.
Coach Roby of the Hokies mentioned to us before the broadcast, Ryan, that, you know, admittedly, Chishko has had a bit of a disappointing season, but he's hopeful that he can turn it around tonight.
Yeah, only 8-6 on the year so far, but like I said, a 2-time All-American, a guy who's won big matches on the biggest stages. This is still going to be a quality win for Hidley.
Hidley was dominant in his individual victory as well as the team victory a week ago against North Carolina here in Raleigh.
Yeah, and Hidley's been very dominant for a redshirt freshman all year. It's really impressive what he's been able to do and be so reliable in his first year in the lineup. I don't think the NC State coaches are surprised by it, though. As soon as he showed up on campus, they knew they had something special in Hayden Hidley.
Hidley certainly looks the part. An impressive athlete as the stalling call goes against Chichko there. It's his first. Still no score between these two with 90 seconds left in the first period.
Chichko in pretty deep on a shot, but Hidley not giving it up there.
Ranked number 3 in the country at the 157 weight class. Chishko has bounced up and down a little bit, formerly at the 149 level.
Yeah, and even when he was an All-American, he was all the way down at 141. So he's moved all up and down the lineup. But you got to have those guys in your program. Guys get hurt, you need someone to bounce around, plug in the vacancy, and I think Roby's glad he's got Shishko able to fill that hole at 157 after an injury struck the Hokies.
Shishko going the circumference of the mat from near to far. Hidley finally able to grapple him with under 30 seconds left in the first period. Still zeros on the scoreboard. They work their way to the edges again.
It's interesting watching these guys after each stoppage. I mean, Hidley is jogging back to the center, ready to go right away, and Shishko's kind of taking his time, methodically working his way back.
Hidley chomping at the bit to earn a takedown. As another stalling call against Shishko gives 1 point to Hidley.
And that's just
and
what
a second stall call there. So 2-0 in favor of the Wolfpack's Hidley.
Yeah, and that's what I was just talking about there with Shishko kind of taking his time. You see he gets a takedown of his own there to tie it back up.
And that was as time expires in the first period. Hidley, again, as you mentioned, quickly making his way to the center of the mat. Coach Roby, you see up on his feet, animated throughout this bout, as well as the others, but pretty impassioned in those last couple of minutes.
Now you see a caution against Shishko, just his first. So no harm done yet, but could be something to watch for as we move on.
Hidley able to struggle out of that and make it 3-2 with the escape. As Shishko only able to ride him for not quite 10 seconds. And now Hidley, the aggressor again, on the outside of the mat.
And Hidley keeps working that edge of the mat. I mean, he's pushing hard, and Shishko's backing up enough to where he's on the edge of the mat a lot.
We saw him take a similar approach against North Carolina here a week ago.
Yeah, that was a close match through the first 5 minutes, and then Hidley turned it on in the third period. Made a pretty comfortable win out of it.
He leads 3-2. Just over a minute left in the second period. Pushes Shishko outside on the mat. No points awarded, but we'll reset things with 1 minute, 14 seconds left. Hidley clearly the most willing to attack of these two thus far.
Yeah, and he's working Shishko to the edge of the mat once again.
Clear and concise takedown for Hidley there.
I was going to say this time he is able to get it before they get too close to the edge.
Makes it 5-2 with 47 left in the second period. Now he's in complete control on the edge of the circle.
And I thought we might see Hidley cut Shishko, but at a certain point there's going to be such little time left that it doesn't make sense to cut him, and we might be at that point with 30 seconds left in the period.
Finally able to accrue some riding time of his own is Hidley as well. Now at 30 seconds total.
And there's another stalling call against Shishko.
So a point rewarded to Hidley, 7-2 with just under 10 seconds left in the second period.
And it's going to be really dangerous if Shishko picks up any more. Hidley's going to start piling up points in a hurry with those.
And his riding time up to close to 50 seconds as well. That was his takedown prior to securing Shishko.
He's got his opponent on the defensive and able to shoot in and finish right away there. So Shishko's choice was going to be down. Hidley says, I want to wrestle him in neutral.
Hidley clearly wants to create some more separation with a 6-3 lead, under 2 minutes left in the match as we begin the third period.
And Hidley, look at that counter defense there.
Shishko finally went for a shot, but Hidley able to overcome with a 2-point takedown, 8-3.
And Shishko's on the edge of the mat again.
And he's going to be in danger of another stalling call. Instead, this time,
someone's bleeding, I think.
I believe it's Shishko as the Virginia Tech training staff tends to that. Hidley gets wiped off as well. Hidley not afraid to use that chin, which is what is getting looked at now.
Oh, it is Hidley bleeding. I was going to say I can't see blood on either one, but right under his chin he's got a little cut. Great shot from our camera crew there.
Hidley quickly back to the center of the mat.
Well, what else would he do? He's been doing that all match.
He leads by 4 points, 8-4, 127 left in this bout. Chichko asks for a quick clarification from the official before shooting low on Hidley, who escapes but was poked in the eye. Whistle and a quick stoppage. Hidley motions toward the bench that he's good.
Now he's really bleeding out of that chin, though. Will Conlon, the A-plus trainer for the Wolfpack, been around a long time. He's on it. And Hidley just wants to get back to the center.
Yeah, a quick pause in the action, or at least as quick as Hidley's able to make it.
Hidley's still back to the center before anybody else. The ref isn't even ready yet, and he's in there.
I can't quite tell, Ryan, if it's Hidley's anxiousness to resume action or if Chichko is maybe a little hesitant, it seems.
Yeah, and I mean, there's definitely a mental warfare aspect of it, if that's what you want to call it. When your guy's a little slow back to the center of the mat, you want to always beat him back there and be waiting for him.
Under a minute left in this one, 8-4 advantage for Hayden Hidley, the number 3 ranked wrestler at the 157 weight class.
And he looks like it tonight against a 2-time All-American. It's really impressive what he's done so far.
Chichko bullied on the outside of the circle, and on his way down was looking up at the official for some kind of signal that maybe he'll get to reset. Hidley trying to move to 19-0 on the season, in complete control at the far side of the mat.
And the NC State coaches want another stalling call with Chichko on the edge of the mat once again. I mean, there have been a ton of stoppages in this match.
Chichko now at this point has cocooned outside the circle, still no call. And a whistle blown with 10 seconds left in the third period. Hidley still with a cushiony advantage at 8-4.
And he's just going to miss out on the ride time point. He had 57.7 seconds on top, so not quite enough to get the point, but still a comfortable 8-4 win.
It was a closer score than some of the dominance we've seen out of Hayden Hidley so far this season. But he gets the win for North Carolina State. He moves to 19-0. And NC State with quite the team advantage through 5 bouts thus far, as we're at halftime. Virginia Tech with a couple of wrestlers taking advantage of their chances, but for the most part, North Carolina State on top in a big way here in this ACC dual bout. 16-3 they lead at the intermission. Welcome back to Reynolds Coliseum, ACC Wrestling here in Raleigh. A big 16-3 advantage at the intermission for number 6 ranked North Carolina State facing the number 8 Hokies of Virginia Tech. And senior night for North Carolina State, many of them very illustrious careers, including an undefeated Pete Renda, Ryan, who we're going to see a little bit later here in the second part of this match.
Yeah, we've got some great matches coming up, and it's going to be a heavy presence of these seniors for NC State. 184 pounds, like you mentioned, Pete Renda will be out there. That's a top 10 matchup. At 197 pounds, we've got another top 10 matchup. And then at 285, those guys are right next to each other in the rankings with number 19, Michael Boykin, if that's who we see for NC State, and number 18, Andrew Dunn of Virginia Tech.
another contrast in that matchup as we've seen prior. Boykin, a senior, assumedly would face Andrew Dunn, the redshirt freshman. So some contrasts of experience, and you see here Zavatsky and Renda, they've faced off a few times in the past, and Zavatsky of Virginia Tech has had the upper hand 2 of those 3 times.
Yeah, Renda knows it, but he does have the most recent win between the two. That came 2 years ago at the NCAA championships. Zavatsky won in the regular season. He won at the ACC championship, but then at the NCAA championships, Renda got revenge. The series is 2-1. Both of these guys know it. They're familiar with each other, and they're 2 of the top guys in the country, so it should be a good one.
Renda hasn't lost in quite some time. He's at 19-0 on the season, one of 15 Division I wrestlers with a remaining 0 at that second number. But we'll get started with Brian Hammond and David McFadden, the number 4 ranked wrestler in the country at 165. One of those 15 undefeateds at 28-0 on the season.
Yeah, McFadden is really, really impressive. He was an All-American in 2016, but then tore his ACL at the NCAA championships and redshirted last year, so he looks like he hasn't missed a beat since coming back.
Looking to move to 29-0 and get things started in impressive fashion for the Hokies just past intermission here at Reynolds Coliseum.
That's a ton of matches. 28 matches. This is match number 29 for him in the regular season.
A redshirt sophomore out of West Milford, New Jersey. Hammond of the Wolfpack out of Jackson, New Jersey, 15-5 on the season. 1 minute in. Still not much movement in terms of points or shooting for either of these two. 0s on the board, but a 16-3 advantage at the intermission. As we mentioned, North Carolina State ahead big, but very crucial matchups in this second leg. So stalemate will reset the action at the center of the mat. Nearly halfway through period number 1 and still no score. McFadden the first to grapple. Modest shot low, unsuccessful as Hammond pulls away.
Yeah, and like many of the matchups tonight, this is probably the best 2 guys in the ACC going at it right now. So this is a big one for seeding purposes at the conference championships.
Again, we re-rack. 1 minute left in the first period. McFadden, couple of modest shots thus far. Hammond not really quick to shoot. There was Hammond on an attack, but McFadden easily escapes.
Yeah, no points yet, but both of these guys have been shooting. Just good defense so far.
20 seconds left in the period. Is a shot low for McFadden. Hammond trying his best.
Good sprawl there by Hammond to not allow any points. I mean, that was a pretty good shot from McFadden.
Just 12 seconds left in the first period. Still no score. This one much like the previous matchup between Bo Donahue and Ryan Blees. Very slow in the early going. So the first period ends, 0s on the board. And so far, Brian Hammond, the redshirt senior, doing a good job against David McFadden, the undefeated redshirt sophomore. You mentioned the torn ACL making his return this season after reaching All-American status in his first year with the Hokies.
Yeah, it's always impressive when you've got a guy who can accomplish that as a true freshman, go out on the big stage and get it done. But this obviously would be easily the biggest win of Hammond's career if he's able to do something like that.
An escape awarded to McFadden there. Almost a hip toss-like maneuver. And then two more on a takedown for the Hokies. 3-0, McFadden leads, 1:25 left in the second period.
And he was in on that shot quick. As soon as he was out, he was in on his offense.
I wonder if the 1 point initially awarded to McFadden was enough to break the ice and turn him into an aggressor from this point forward.
So Hammond cautioned there for moving a little bit early.
It's his first warning of that nature. As he scrambles to reach his feet. McFadden trying to just use his strength and muscle Hammond around. He finally brings him to the ground.
Yeah, that was a nice little back trip there from McFadden. I'm sure he's got a lot of sweet moves like that in the toolbox, and we got to see one there.
Hammond up to his feet. A very wide stance before dropping back to his knees. We're under a minute left in the second period. Riding time rather for McFadden now up to 30 seconds. And a 3-0 lead for the number 4 wrestler in the country, still undefeated.
And if Hammond wants to get out here before the end of the period, he's got to get his head off the mat. I know that sounds simple, but when you got a guy applying as much pressure as McFadden there, it's tough. He's called for a move being potentially dangerous. That's no penalty, but it does cause for a restart.
And that pressure to the back of the head is what was concerning as it was applied by McFadden. And stops the clock at 19 seconds. Restarted, McFadden ahead 3-0.
It'd be huge for Hammond to get out here, but I don't think he moved enough on the whistle there to be able to do it.
1 minute of riding time now for McFadden as we end the second period. So a somewhat conservative first 2 periods for McFadden. A shoot here, a shoot there. But only able to bring Hammond down for 1 takedown.
And honestly, just no motion from Hammond on the whistle there. He's starting to try to get wrist control now, but in my opinion, just not enough immediate motion. And there he is getting up to his feet, so despite that, able to escape.
Spins out and earns his first point of the bout. 3-1 now as McFadden ahead by 2 points, 91 seconds left in the third period.
And I think we got a little extra sweat on the mat that McFadden slipped on. And Will Conlon does it all. He stops guys from bleeding. He's out there cleaning up the mat.
All-purpose trainer for the North Carolina State Wolfpack.
He's like a Swiss Army knife.
You're not supposed to stop a master sweat, stupid.
So McFadden now reaches low on Hammond, unable to bring him in.
But he did draw the stalling call against Hammond, first of the match, but could be something.
Just over a minute left in the third period. McFadden being urged by his coaching staff to take a shot. He goes low, but Hammond manages it well.
Yeah, we'll see what he has from this front headlock position, and no offense there, just stopped McFadden.
50 seconds left in the period, and another caution directed toward Hammond.
That's his second. The next one will be a point.
45 seconds left between these two competitors. McFadden looking to move to 29-0. It's a little close for his comfort, I'm sure. 35 ticks left. Under 30 and a stalemate will reset things. As you saw, Ryan, McFadden shot low, and again, Hammond handled it. McFadden with a very forceful two-point takedown to create a little more separation as we stop at 16 seconds left in the third period.
Here's something you don't see. I'm pretty sure McFadden told his coaches he wants to do an optional start, and they told him not to, and he kind of shook them off and said, I'm planning to do it. So it's a short time. We'll see if he's able to get the takedown. There's a caution against McFadden.
5-1. Worth noting, McFadden make it 5-2 following the escape by Hammond. McFadden, a minute and a half of riding time. So if he holds on for these final 5 seconds, he'll get another point added to his total.
Yeah, and I think that
it goes low as the clock expires. And that'll do it as David McFadden moves on to 29-0, which makes him the first Virginia Tech wrestler with an undefeated season since the 2001-2002 campaign. That was Scott Justice at 29-0 as well.
Yeah, and that's really impressive. I mean, Virginia Tech has had some absolute studs the last couple years. Joey Dance at 125 pounds. There was Ty Walls, the heavyweight that was so good for so many years. I mean, there were a lot of guys that were really, really good to come through that program. So that's quite the accomplishment for the fourth-ranked David McFadden.
McFadden finishes undefeated for the regular season in one of 5 ranked bouts on the evening. Is shortly coming. We've actually got 3 of them in our final matches, but first Daniel Bullard and Hunter Bolin. Number 15th ranked Bolin for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, and this is a chance for Virginia Tech to kind of make up some points in terms of the team score. They were big favorites in that last one, obviously, with McFadden. And then if you look at this one on paper, Bolin's ranked, Bullard is not. So, Virginia Tech's on paper a favorite here. And I would say both teams have a chance in each of the final 3 matches. So this team score could get close. We could see another one between these two great ACC programs come down to the final bout.
Bolin, the first true freshman to take the mat so far tonight. Out of nearby Christiansburg, Virginia. They're close to Blacksburg and Virginia Tech.
And they're such a strong high school wrestling program as well. There are a ton of high-quality wrestlers that have come out of there, especially at Virginia Tech. But it's hard not to be impressed by what Bolin has done this year as a true freshman. Tony Roby said he's got such a high ceiling, and you see why right there on that takedown.
2 points toward Bolin. He's 19 wins, 9 losses in his first season with the Hokies. And Daniel Bullard, a young wrestler as well, redshirt freshman out of Lawrenceville, Georgia. He's also been impressive for North Carolina State. And 13-6 on the year.
And he's a guy that's in the coaches panel rankings. Those go a little deeper than the media rankings that we use on that screen on the bottom left-hand side. But he's been in the coaches panel rankings, and he's dangerous in his own right.
Bolin rolls over, but the escape for Bullard is the result. Under a minute left in the first, and just a 2-1 advantage. Very meticulous bouts as we near the end of this dual match. Every movement, every point matters from here on out, and I think both of these teams know it.
Yeah, I think that's why NC State was glad to be able to get 2 bonus point wins, in that first half of the duel with Sean Fowles at 25 and Kevin Jack at 141. But now's Virginia Tech's chance to return the favor.
Each Bullard and Bolin with an opportunity there a bit ago. And under 10 seconds in the period. Bullard shoots high, thrown off by Bolin, and time will expire. So 2-1, the ranked Hunter Bolin with the narrow advantage through the first couple of minutes.
Yeah, that was just a great takedown there for Bolin off of Bullard's shot. That's what you want as a defensive guy. Use your opponent's offense against him. Great job there, getting the spin.
Very smart, heady wrestlers for both of these squads, and I would say that the majority of the takedowns are in that manner. You anticipate an attack from the other side and you counter it.
Especially when you got 2 guys who are so closely matched on either side, like I think this one is too. This might be a rivalry, both these guys in their freshman year of eligibility. This might be a rivalry we see a lot coming down the line between Bullard and Bolin.
Bullard earns another point and brings it even at 2 apiece. Under a minute and a half left in the second. Bolin trying to help surmount a bit of a comeback for his Hokies. Down by 10 points in the team total.
Yeah, and this is another one of those, toss-up matches that Tony Roby was talking about beforehand. It's going to be close, and they need to pull out a couple of these to have a chance.
Bullard shoots low, but Bolin quick to drop to his knees to mitigate the effect and forces a stalemate. .45 seconds on the clock. Both competitors working their way lower and lower as Bolin trots away and they'll reset. Neither able to gain much of an advantage when they lock in those grappling situations.
Yeah, just a lot of hand fighting going on in this one.
A little more forceful there, but Bullard able to fight off Bolin. Under 10 seconds in the period. And time will expire before any more points are earned. And we go into the third at 2 points apiece. Daniel Bullard, a redshirt freshman. Hunter Bolin, a true freshman. Each in their first seasons in the lineup for their respective teams, duking it out in what is, I think, going to turn out to be a very important bout.
And this is exactly what Bullard wanted. Bolin was getting very close to a minute of riding time at the start of that period when it started. Bullard's erasing that now. He's got it down to 35 seconds and counting.
Bolin trying to stop the effects, grabs that right leg and turns Bullard for the takedown on the reversal. So a 4-2 advantage for Hunter Bolin.
Yeah, nice reversal there from Bolin. Bullard tried to throw that leg. Bolin kind of caught it and used that to get his reversal, get his 2 points.
His riding time is working its way up close to that minute mark at 55 seconds now and shooting upward. 1 minute of riding time for Bolin and 1 minute left. Bolin again grabs one of the feet of Bullard, able to bring him down, but no points awarded.
Yeah, that was a nice mat return to stay in control on top.
The wrestlers get out of bounds. And again, we'll reset at center mat. 48 seconds left. Now a minute, 17 seconds of riding time for Bolin.
Yeah, and that essentially makes it 5-2. First caution against Boland on top.
And now with 47 seconds left, we will resume. Boland going after it with that right leg of Bullard. Remains in control. Flips him around, but Bullard able to squirm his way out of it and reels it within 1 point, 4-3. Wolfpack crowd on its feet for Daniel Bullard.
And with Boland having the riding time point locked up right now, a takedown from Bullard would simply tie the match. So that's important to keep in mind here. He's got to get a takedown just to go into overtime. And he's running out of time.
5 seconds left. Boland works his way out of a potential Bullard attack a couple of times. And the clock hits 0 for period number 3. Hunter Boland will get the individual victory, his 20th of the season. He becomes the 7th Hokies competitor with 20 wins on the campaign.
Yeah, and you see right here, this is going to be that reversal from Boland. He caught that leg. Bullard was trying to shoot in, trying to get in on the side. Uses it to his advantage. It's a reversal, 2 points.
In that third period, Boland recognizing perhaps an opportunity with the legs of Bullard. He manages the victory, and the team total adds 3 for the Hokies. It's 16-9 now in favor of North Carolina State, and it brings us to our final 3 bouts. And Ryan, to you and me, I think, as we read over the notes and have watched these seasons progress as the year has gone on, these are 3 highly anticipated bouts that will round up the competition here tonight.
Yeah, these are bouts that everyone in the national wrestling community will be watching, and this one especially. These guys have seen each other a lot. These guys are former All-Americans on either side. This should be a great bout. And, of course, the winner will be the likely number, or I guess I should say they will be the 1 seed at the ACC Championships in Chapel Hill.
Pete Renda, 19-0 on the season, looking to retain his unblemished mark. The number 3 wrestler at the 184 weight class in the country. Matched up with number 8, Zach Zavatsky, who has a career advantage over Renda, 2 wins and 1 loss between these two. No score, 40 seconds in.
Finally decided to do something. You still suck.
I actually misspoke there. Zavatsky is a 2-time ACC champion, but has not All-American. He has been the Nationals twice, but has not made the podium as a top 8 finisher quite yet. And on the flip side of that, Pete Renda is placed 3rd in the country and doesn't have an ACC title. So welcome to college wrestling.
So, but it can be agreed upon that Renda is an all-ACC caliber.
Absolutely.
Whereas Zavatsky, an All-American caliber competitor.
No question about
As they
that.
scrap their way to the outside of the circle following the Zavatsky takedown for a 2-0 advantage. And a resetting of the bout with 1:38 left in the first period.
Yeah, Zavatsky strikes first, but I'm pretty confident in saying that will not be the only point scored in this one. These are 2 offensive wrestlers that like to pile up the points.
Renda works his way to his feet. Nearly turns out of the maneuver there. But instead, Zavatsky perhaps bailed out by the bounds of competition.
As we mentioned earlier, there's Renda getting an escape. This is a big one for Renda. He's down 2-1 in the head-to-head matchup. He does have the most recent win over Zavatsky, but he is still trailing in that head-to-head series, and I'm sure these guys are going to meet at least one more time this year, if not again, possibly at Nationals.
Under a minute left in the first period. Renda Finally able to spin away for his first escape. Brings it within one. 2-1 the advantage for Zach Zavatsky. Renda shoots low. Zavatsky able to pivot away.
And Renda's not only familiar with Zach Zavatsky based on their previous matchups, but his teammate Nick Reenan, a guy that's redshirting here at NC State, beat Zavatsky in an open tournament earlier this year. So he's got teammates who have beaten Zavatsky. So that's always another motivator for you, because you don't want a guy on your team to beat a guy by more than you, or beat a guy that you lost to, of course. So,
is there too much pride there, Ryan, and I ask because of your experience, for a guy like Renda to go to his teammate and ask, hey, what did you learn about Zavatsky in beating him in that bout?
Oh, absolutely not. I think he's familiar with Zavatsky as it is, but any little insight you can get like that can help.
First period expires. 2-1 advantage for Zavatsky of the Hokies. Looking to claw their way back in these last three bouts. Potentially earn an ACC dual championship against the Wolfpack tonight.
And they've got momentum on their side right now. 2 in a row since the break.
Renda squirms his body out of a potential takedown maneuver by Zavatsky, so no points yet. 15 seconds into the second period. Zavatsky accruing riding time at this point. Reached 51.4 seconds prior to the Renda escape to tie it up.
And Renda rushing in there to get back on his offense right away. We'll see if he's able to get it going here in neutral.
Leads with the right hand, now switches with his left. You can tell Renda patiently waiting for an opening. Though it's not quite the way he likes to wrestle. He tends to be much more aggressive.
Yeah, whenever you have as much familiarity against a guy as these two do, you're a little more cautious sometimes.
It's Zavatsky to go low, and now has the head of Zavatsky. Slips away from Renda, who now has his right leg caught up.
And Renda going for the crotch lock and the scoop with his ankle. We're going to get funky here. No points awarded yet.
There's 22 seconds left in the period, so if they are going to be rewarded, it'll have to happen quickly for both Renda or Zavatsky, in a stalemate call. Wolfpack crowd didn't like that, as Renda seemed to be working on something.
Yeah, I thought the ref might let him play it out there for the final 15 seconds and see what happens. That wasn't the case.
So Renda now will have to start from scratch with just 10 seconds left in the period. And assumedly will not get anywhere, and this will go to the third at 2-2. 2 more minutes in regulation. We've already seen one matchup go to an extra period. I think that's certainly a possibility here at the 184 weight class.
Yeah, the last time these guys matched up, I mentioned it was at the NCAA tournament. It was a 1-point win for Renda, so it's no surprise these guys are having a close one once again.
It's the first of 2 consecutive top 10 matchups in tonight's match.
2 great matchups coming up, this one and the next one are just phenomenal.
This one has certainly lived up to the billing, as it's 3-2. Zavatsky's advantage now following the escape. With 1:35 left. Renda at a disadvantage with riding time as well. Shoots low, and again on Zavatsky.
Yeah, at some point, one of these guys is going to have to open up. And based on the scoreboard, it's going to have to obviously be Renda.
1:05 left in the period. Renda a half shot low. Trying to work his way back up on Zavatsky, who's in control above Renda's shoulders now.
Yeah, and he's just trying to tie up Renda and slow him down a little bit. Renda hasn't really committed to a shot here recently. Like you said, partner, a lot of little half shots.
He's yet to really go full bore in period number 3 as we approach 30 seconds left. And he trails by 1. So a reset with 34 seconds on the clock. And Renda will have to go for it in this final half minute.
Zavatsky there with the heavy hands. That's what we need to see from Renda if he's going to be able to get on the scoreboard here. And you see Zavatsky now just trying to tie him up, slow him down, not give him an opening for that shot.
Zavatsky eating just enough time to prevent a full efforted attack from Renda. Just 3 seconds left to wrestle. And Renda with a last-ditch effort, unable to come away with a takedown. Zavatsky amped up with a 1-point solo victory, 3-2. He gets the decision.
That's a big win right there for Zavatsky. I mean, on paper, it's a big win for mental aspect because he lost the last time those two guys wrestled. It's huge. And anytime you can give a guy his first loss, that's a big confidence builder.
Pete Renda, a tremendous effort for the redshirt senior, but suffers his first loss of the campaign, as you mentioned, now 19-1 for the Wolfpack this season. And it moves the team totals within 4. NC State 16, Virginia Tech 12, with another top 10 matchup here in Michael Machiavello, number 7 in the country for the Wolfpack. Just 1 loss on the year against number 2 ranked Jared Haught. 2 redshirt seniors.
Yeah, 2 guys who are national title contenders. One of Jared Haught's 2 losses was to the guy who's ranked 1st in the country. And Machiavello has not lost a lot this year either, just 1 on that right-hand column.
Some quick shuffling. And a lot of movement early between these two. At the 197 weight class, 2 of the best in the nation with a lot on the line here at Reynolds Coliseum. Machiavello worked outside of the circle, dodges severe impact and will reset.
He did get hit for a stalling there though. It's early to be hit for that, so that could make an impact as we move along.
40 seconds in already. Very active first period between Haught and Machiavello.
Yeah, you don't always see these big guys be so active, but these guys are going right at it.
Haught shoots low, stays on his feet as Machiavello drops to his knees. And it's out of the bounds of competition. No stalling call.
Pat Papalizio trying to go to the table to talk to the ref about why that wasn't stalling, but the action has started.
I would imagine Pop's argument, as we're hearing from the Wolfpack fans, well, if Virginia Tech got that stalling call, how come we don't?
And I think that's exactly what Papalizio is over there saying as well.
So a stoppage in the first period with 1 minute, 50 seconds left. Papalizio will cut his losses and head back to the bench. Zeros between these 2 intense competitors with 1:40 left in the first period.
Yeah, Haught's a 2-time All-American. Machiavello still looking for his first All-America honor. He lost in what we called the blood round in the NCAA championships last year, falling 1 win shy of All-America honors.
Machiavello being forced to be on the defensive for most of the first couple of minutes. Haught with a couple of shots low, but Machiavello doing a great job defensively.
Easy to see why these guys are ranked as high as they are and have had the success that they've had this year.
Again, an absolute struggle toward the center of the mat. As Machiavello voluntarily works out to the outside of the circle. Now a shot low by Haught, but well defended by Machiavello. Drops to his knees and gets him in a headlock. And the two competitors scoot out of bounds. Once again, to me it looked like Tony Roby didn't agree much with that call, or lack of a call. And now just 10 seconds left in the first with still no score.
This has been an active 0-0 match so far.
We've seen, a couple others end in zeros at the end of the first period. Those much more of a waiting game, sort of a cat and mouse game. These two competitors going at each other from the very start.
Machiavello looking for hand control there, trying to keep Haught out. And now he's up to his feet. He's out right away.
Machiavello quick to his feet, the first point. And he leads 1-0 early in the second period. Just 15 seconds of riding time accrued by Haught.
Shut up, coach.
The wrestlers break contact and we'll start it up again. Machiavello shoots low, unable to grasp and gain control.
I thought those even looked like little half shots he was trying to use to get Haught off balance, and it was almost like, oh, his leg's right there.
This time Machiavello goes low and Haught, the one on the defensive. Back to his feet.
Oh, they're sweating there. They can time out and wipe it up again.
And again, going at it back and forth as Machiavello pushes Haught outside of the circle.
That was a great reshot there by Machiavello, just not enough room on the edge of the mat.
And you hear the boos raining in Reynolds Coliseum. Wolfpack fans wanting another stall. And now Machiavello pointing at his chin strap. Haught, I think, had a hold on it.
That's definitely what he was saying there. Haught slaps hands.
And they seemingly make up before competition resumes. 22 seconds and ticking downward here in period number 2. Machiavello still ahead 1-0. And yet another tightly contested ranked bout.
Machiavello trying to find an opening, just can't against the defense of Haught.
Haught shoots low at the buzzer for the second period. And you're right, Machiavello constantly going high and then shooting low, little half shots, seeing if he can find an opening. 2 minutes left.
And the fans in here trying to give Machiavello some energy.
From behind, he lifts Haught off his feet, grabs control of the left foot, now working him to the outside of the circle.
I was going to say he's got to be careful there. He can't afford to pick up another stalling call, so he needs to either cut Haught or he needs to return him to the mat, and there it is.
Yep.
That's bad news, giving up a point in that situation. And then he gives up the escape on top of it.
So
he should have
just second stall, the first point for Haught and the Hokies. And then the escape is point number 2. 2-1 the advantage for Haught and the Hokies.
Machiavello should have been aware of the situation there and just cut him loose before he picked up that stall call, so it's a 1-1 match. But now he's put himself in a bit of a hole against the nation's number 2 ranked wrestler.
Well, with just over a minute left, he'll be in a similar situation as Pete Renda was one bout ago. Trailing by one, Machiavello going to have to make a move. Competitors push away. This time Haught, the aggressor, moves Machiavello to the outside.
That was smart by Haught there to just get real aggressive when Machiavello started backing up to the edge of the mat, trying to coax a stalling call. And now Machiavello is the one trying to bring Haught back in. Not able to, though.
So we'll move back to the center of the mat. Exactly 30 seconds remain. Machiavello and the Wolfpack trail by one in this individual bout. A win here for Haught would bring the team scores within 1 point, entering our final individual duel.
And that would make it the third year in a row that this match has come down to the final bout.
Under 10, Machiavello. Some hand fighting up top, unable to find a seam. And the clock will hit 0. Another close win for the Hokies, and they have come on strong down the stretch. It's now 16-15. And it all comes down to the heavyweights.
You can't ask for much more than this in the ACC Dual Championship match. We're coming down to the big boys with the title on the line.
Number 19th ranked Michael Boykin, senior, 17-4 on the season. A dominant performance his last time on the mat a week ago against North Carolina. Against Andrew Dunn, ranked just one spot ahead of him. A redshirt freshman. Both products of Pennsylvania. Dunn a 20-10 record on the year.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of PA versus PA matches. This one's going to be PA versus PA.
Dunn with strong hands, fighting away Boykin's initial attempt.
You mentioned Boykin's match last Friday against North Carolina. That was the most active I had ever seen him wrestle. He had several just blast double after blast double that he hit. NC State's really going to need to see that Michael Boykin out here tonight.
You know he'll be relaxed. He's, as we know him, a fun personality. You see for the second Friday in a row, he's competing in those green socks with toucan graphics on them.
We still haven't gotten to the bottom of that one. We might have to figure it out before Sunday.
At this point, Ryan, I think I'd be surprised if there was a cohesive story. Might just be totally random. Some hand fighting between both Boykin and Dunn, separated by just one spot in the national rankings at 19th and 18th respectively.
Yeah, and Dunn has been ranked pretty he's been ranked higher this year, but he's on a little bit of a tough streak here. He's 1-6 in his last 7 matches, but a lot of those have been really, really close against really, really highly ranked guys.
A bit taller in stature than Boykin of the Wolfpack. He's able to keep the high ground as you saw him push away. Just over a minute left in the first period. Again, zeros.
Yeah, Boykin might not have height, but I tell you, there's not many heavyweights out there with his type of power. He is just built. I saw a video NC State put up on Snapchat the other day. And they're coming over here to say hi.
You knew that was going to happen when they made their way to the near side of the circle, Ryan. And Boykin was the initial aggressor, but Dunn on the second attempt. And
trying to take out our cameraman.
He's got a nose for the action. We'll say that. He was right there.
Tony Roby over there to talk to the referee about that call.
So no points awarded.
That stall call could be huge, though.
There was the stall called as we're at zeros with 44 seconds remaining in period number 1. And what will be our final individual bout of tonight's match. 1 point separating North Carolina State and Virginia Tech. So this one for all the marbles in terms of the ACC dual championship. Dunn scampers away from Boykin temporarily. Boykin issuing that right hand for sort of a high wrap around the head of Dunn. He's tried it a couple of times thus far.
I was going to say, I'm almost afraid to get back to the story I was trying to tell earlier. There's been a lot of action here with these heavyweights, but I'll say it real quick. NC State put a video up on Snapchat. Michael Boykin was doing dumbbell presses. The dumbbells were 115 pounds. He's almost bench pressing Sean Foss each time he puts that up.
And one Sean Faust for each hand, too.
That's right.
That's incredible.
He's a powerful man, I tell you. And Andrew Dunn's been out there holding his own. Pretty impressive for a redshirt freshman.
Reset for the second period. Boykin with a go at it, unable to floor Dunn. Gets a hold of his left leg and brings him down on the outside of the circle, but no call.
Great mat return there from Boykin. You see Pat Papalizio almost coming out to the mat to give him a little extra energy, and the crowd is getting into it.
Coach Pop pointed right into Boykin's face, saying something along the lines of, "That's you right there. Keep doing that." 1 minute, 40 seconds left in the period as Dunn escapes for the first point of the contest.
That is big, though. I mean, Boykin forced his opponent to carry his weight a little bit there, try to tire him out. That was 20 seconds on top. With these big boys, that can be big.
Boykin leads with the right hand, but Dunn shoots low.
Set something up, Michael.
Both of these competitors striving for control high.
We haven't really seen that Boykin blast double yet that we saw last week. He hasn't been able to find an opening for it. Let's see if that changes down the stretch here. I mean, a takedown will completely change this match.
With momentum in mind, Ryan, a takedown of the nature that he floored his opponent last week would do wonders for North Carolina State in this final bout.
And I can't imagine anything would get the crowd more into it. They loved it when Boykin was hitting those last week. Another great crowd on hand here at Reynolds Coliseum 1 week after they set the attendance record with over 2,100 last Friday for that UNC match.
Boykin again trying to find some kind of opening, but Dunn unable or unwilling to allow him. 10 left in the period.
And then Dunn took a peek at the clock just to see how much longer he had to hold off this beast. That is Michael Boykin.
So the second period comes to a close, and a 1-0 advantage for Andrew Dunn. 2 minutes left, and it all comes down to this between Boykin and Dunn, the Wolfpack and the Hokies.
And let's not forget the ACC dual championship.
Boykin escapes and ties it at 1, and the crowd is all on its feet. The ACC championship at stake. And a minute and a half remaining.
Boykin with a little fake there.
Pushes Dunn away and will try again. Hand control for Dunn on his right side, Boykin's left. And they separate again. Boykin drops low. Nearly had a seam, it seemed.
Keeps going for that double. Not quite able to get the opening he needs, though.
Right at a minute remaining. Dunn dropping about as low as he's been in this bout.
Boykin needs to keep working with those heavy hands that he just hit Dunn with. I've seen Dunn peeking at the clock a few times, standing up.
Boykin shoots to one side, unable to grapple Dunn. Finally got a hold of him there, and he pushes him backward.
He needs to keep pushing him here and be aware where he is on the mat.
20 seconds left. Tied at 1. Boykin shoots low.
The crowd, the coaches, everyone in here really trying to get a stalling call.
7 seconds left. Boykin shoots low. Dunn tries to counter. And they fight their way to the far side of the circle and conclude period 3 tied at 1. An extra period to determine the ACC dual championship. Ryan, I do not think it gets better than this.
No, it doesn't. With so many close matches tonight, why wouldn't we go to overtime in the last one to decide the team score?
The heavyweights ranked 19th and 18th in the country. Dunn wraps the leg of Boykin. Boykin with the counter, and it's a 2-point takedown. Sudden victory for the North Carolina State heavyweight, and the Wolfpack earns the ACC dual championship with that.
What a victory from Michael Boykin.
An uproarious crowd at Reynolds Coliseum as North Carolina State gets the victory after 2 consecutive years. Prior to this, Virginia Tech gets the win in what also decided the dual championship for the Atlantic Coast Conference. And the Wolfpack gets their first since 2004.
Yeah, you see Dunn in that shot, a little bit off balance. Boykin just spins around, takes advantage, and that's the takedown we've been seeing all night. A guy shoots and someone takes advantage off of his opponent's shot. What a victory for Michael Boykin. That's huge for ACC seeding. That's huge for his confidence. And of course, that locks up the ACC dual championship.
18-4 on the year as Michael Boykin adds one in the win column. And Pat Papalizio happy with his pack, to say the least. They get their first ACC dual championship since 2004. For Matt Curry directing, Ryan Tice to my right with all of his insight, I'm Darren Vaught. This has been a production of the ACC Network Extra. So long and have a great night.